Welcome to the MindGym workout on peak performance. My name is Lynn. I've been a trainer and coach for 20 years now. And this concept of peak performance is core to any training or coaching work. It's all about the mental state. Peak performance is what happens when your abilities and your sense of your abilities give you the confidence, the clarity of focus, and the mental fitness to do a task in a way that's not just good, but it's great. We're going to do this in 15 minutes, so we have a lot to cover. First, we're going to focus on the past and look back at some peak performance experiences that you might have had to give you a sense of what that means and help you think about how you can use that idea as you're doing a task in the present tense, or if you're helping someone else to try to reach for peak performance in the present tense. And for that part, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. We're going to have you talk to each other and think a bit about something that is very important to you or to the person that you're helping. Then we'll talk about the future and how you can use this idea of peak performance to help you and shape where you are at any given time so you're always pushing yourself to be the best that you can. Sound like a good investment of 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Since it's all about challenge and mental state, I'd like to start with a little challenge from each of you. I want one word that describes what someone is going through in their own mental state when they are in peak performance. I'll start with you, since I know you do a thing or two with words.
Confidence.
Confidence.
I say adrenaline.
Adrenaline. I like it.
Some uncertainty, but it's true.
I'll take two.
Some uncertainty.
So, confidence, adrenaline, some uncertainty.
Clarity.
Clarity. Okay.
Excitement.
Excitement. So clarity and excitement at the same time.
Absolute.
Absolute. What do you mean by that?
The idea that there is nothing else than what you are focusing on.
Okay.
And you have to commit to it.
Great. So absolute, clarity, excitement, confidence. These are all great words. They're words you'd probably expect to describe an Olympic athlete, for example. We all saw the Winter Olympics just recently. I'm sure you all have your favorites. Your favorite competition as well. And your favorite heroes and heroines who demonstrate peak performance. My favorite was Shaun White, snowboarder extraordinaire. Did anyone see the half-pipe competition? Everyone did. So what a demonstration of peak performance. He could have made the choice when he won the gold medal to just go down the middle, wave to his fans, take it easy, don't take any risks. He already had the gold medal in hand. But he decided to do something different. Shaun White, or any other Olympic athlete, or anyone who tries to be good at something, wanted to do something more. He pushed himself and he did all kinds of flips, culminating in his signature move, the McTwist 1260. And I don't know if you remember this. He spun around 3.5 times while in the air and flipping head over heels twice while he was doing it. He didn't just land and not break his neck. He landed it. He totally nailed that competition and gave everybody a moment of excitement and really appreciation of what peak performance can be. It can happen to anybody, not just Olympic athletes. And that's what we want to try to get to. I imagine that all of you have had some sort of peak performance experience. Let's start with athletics. Raise your hand if you've had some sort of athletic experience where you really felt like you were in the zone. Good. How about performing arts? So, other areas, personal fitness maybe?
Definitely personal.
Personal fitness. So you've all had this. I believe you raised your hand for athletics.
Yes.
Why don't you share with the group your athletic experience?
In fact, just yesterday I had gone climbing with some of my friends and family, and what you do is you challenge yourself to do different routes in which you're limited to a certain number of steps you can take. And on the second try on a certain route that I had wiped out the first time and known that if I had come back another day where I was fresh, I could do it, I managed to, in one attempt that day, reach the top, including saving myself from a fall at the very end.
Yeah, but you didn't think you could do it.
Absolutely.
And you were able to get to that. An absolute, as you said earlier. You mentioned performing arts?
Sure. When I was in college, I had to pretty much perform my senior piano recital, and my professor was not available to teach me the last piece that I needed to perform, which was a very abstract piece. So basically, I had to take all of the technique that I had been taught throughout the semester, and just pretty much when I got on stage, I delivered all the musical nuances because you felt like you were in the zone, and you just knew that, okay, technique comes in, and then with your own interpretation of the music, and then you see the audience there, and so it all built up, so.
I like the way you said in the zone. And that's really what we're talking about. And I think everyone raised their hand in some way or another, that you've had that kind of experience at some point in your life. Now take that to your work life or your professional life, where it's not just something that you're trying to do, but something that you have a built-in motivation to do in the best way that you can. Think of a new worker or a new manager starting in a role. Anyone can probably do what you need to do within 6 months or so. That's just doing good, doing the expectations of the job. But doing great is the next level. And so we're going to tap this idea of the peak performance that you all experienced in one way or another and try to apply that in the present tense for something that you're working on. So we're going to shift to the part where you have to do some work. And first I want you to think about a task that you want to perform to have peak performance for yourself, or if you're helping someone else achieve that task for peak performance. So just take a few seconds and get that specific task and person in your mind. Everyone have something? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the odd numbered people will first ask a series of questions to the even numbered people about the experience that you thought about. So you're the interviewer, you're the interviewee, and you'll tell Frank about the questions he's asking you in relation to this specific task. Give you about a minute to 90 seconds, and then we'll flip it so the other person has a chance to ask your partner. Any questions on the task? Okay, so let's give this to the odd people.
What are you saying?
Yes, right.
You're not odd. Any questions?
Isn't that-
Go ahead.
Okay.
So pick one person to achieve.
One person to achieve.
What is the task? Be specific.
In the task, and it would be you.
My task is to
It would be
get
my
all
boss.
of my
What is the
students
task?
to
Be
perform,
specific.
What is the task?
Means be specific.
exceptionally well at defining concept, which is.
Organizing his office.
What is the
subjects?
subjects, what are their current abilities?
On the scale, from 10. One,
There
zero, 10.
is enough acceptance.
4 or 5.
How great is the level of the challenge for
What is the subject's
individual?
subject that's, what is the subject's
Is
current
that also
ability
a
at this task?
Yes.
So what's their current ability?
7.
I'm sorry, scale of 1 to
Okay.
10, 10 being
What does
the
peak
seasoned expert, 1
performance
being
look
low
like
skill.
for this
Okay.
individual in
Well,
this
right
task?
now they're in
Be
the-
as descriptive as
How
possible.
So how
great
great
is the level of challenge for that
It's
individual skill?
necessary to
Skill
actually
level.
put the time
Scale of 1 to 10 being,
into it.
1 is
How
not
great is
challenge,
the
10
level
is
of challenge for that
Showing
individual
up on
skill?
time.
So how great is the
So
level
the right
of
hour
challenge
to
for
do
their
it.
skill
Right
level
now
at
they're
this
in
task?
Pass, but actually figuring out what is
Yeah,
in his
how great is the
office,
level of
he
the
needs to do
And
his
what does
job,
peak
and what he
performance
doesn't.
look like for this
And
individual
then
for you
take
in
time
this
to
task?
instruct people who would be doing the
I'd
actual
say
moving of
it's
everything,
About
where
30
he
seconds
wants
left.
it, what he wants to have
Okay.
things for it to read out done.
And so
or
You got
what
it, you got it.
performance
look
look
like,
Very
this
specific.
is asking about the.
You got through it?
So it sounds like capability is high, but motivation is low.
Capability is theoretically high, and motivation is very low, yes.
Are you close to your
Very
right?
good.
Okay,
I'm sure
so
that
let's
affects
switch
you.
it. Actually, why don't you
It
just
does.
hand your paper to the other person, and now we'll do it again.
Okay,
So-
so pick one person to
So-
achieve peak performance in a task which
Okay, are you
can.
the first?
Okay,
Okay.
that would be,
No,
Priya.
it's a-
She is
it's
a
a
12-year-old girl with autism.
What
would be the
What is the task?
Is
These
going
specific
to
tasks
be
you
to
choose.
have,
to
to do
definitely
an audit
being
change
able
his
to,
presentation style to
uh,
that is more.
do her daily
new opportunity for
performance
training.
as independently as possible.
Okay.
What is the subject's current ability at this task on a 1 to 10 scale? 1 is low skill, 10 is seasoned.
Absolutely
His
10.
ability is
She would do
about-
it.
But I mean, I
Possibly
could do it
less.
in a completely different
How great is the level of
context.
challenge
So,
for that individual skill level?
let me
1 to 10
say
scale.
in
This
general,
is probably about
Challenge.
7.
Okay.
Or at least that's what the feedback we're getting. So it's-
It would be an 8
So what
because
would the performance
it is very challenging for her
Um,
considering her mind situation.
Performance would be more.
What does a peak
he's more
performance
inclusive
look
of
like
it.
for
It's
this
very
individual in this
prepared.
task?
Yeah, you know, maybe-
Structured.
Okay.
prepared.
It
But more than
includes
that.
You know, it's unclear.
arising every day,
But I
dressing
probably
independently,
it's-
washing independently, being able to do this without direction, attending to school, being able to function as typically as possible.
All right, let's bring this
in an
to
everyday environment.
a close. I think you've had a good amount of time to figure out what's required for peak performance. So now let's debrief this. I heard some of you. I heard helping an autistic child. I heard helping someone with presentation skills, helping your concert band do as well as they can. I don't think I heard the three of yours. Just quickly, who was the subject, what was the task?
My subject was myself and for doing a new seminar that I had to do.
Okay, new seminar.
Subject was myself, and it was convincing other board members of a certain direction
Okay,
or
okay.
decision.
The group always involves lots of complexity. Zeke, what was yours?
The subject was my boss and organizing his office.
Okay, well, that sounds like a big challenge. So all of these have varying degrees of challenge and ability. And as you're thinking about your own abilities and challenge, we asked you to put a number to that, to be fairly precise about where you are. And that also gave you a sense of where you can work towards in achieving peak performance. So the next step is, where do we go from there? How do we take this idea of peak performance, and we have a clear goal of what we're trying to achieve, and plot where we are at any given time? To do that, we're going to tap the world of positive psychology. And specifically, a psychologist, Csikszentmihalyi. This psychologist and his counterparts focus on helping people and groups be the best that they can, helping to foster talent, foster genius, just the best of human experience. Csikszentmihalyi did a series of studies over the years where he gave his subjects pagers and asked them at random times throughout an extended period of time to write down what they were doing and how they felt about that particular task. He asked all kinds of different people, all different walks of life. So over time, he had lots of experiences documented and was able to start categorizing them in relation to this idea of the challenge and their level of ability. So think of an x-axis, which is the degree of ability that you have. How good are you at it? Low, high. And the y-axis is the degree of challenge. So you're not very challenged at all, or something that requires lots of stretch. Those two dimensions give you 4 quadrants to work with. So the bottom corner, low skill, low challenge. If you're in a task like that, you're probably not that into it. Probably a lot of apathy. You're just not, you have no motivation at all to do anything. It's the opposite of peak performance. We'd hope that you could get out of that zone and into one of the other ones, your move towards peak performance. But go up the horizontal axis. Your skills are actually quite high, but the challenge is not that high. When this study was done, many people that responded were in that zone. So basically they're just coasting along, they're doing okay, doing good, but not doing great. And I'm sure we've all been in situations like that, professionally or jobs at one time or another. The goal then is to be, how do we get to peak performance? And you're not going to be in peak performance in that zone. Let's look at the other extreme, where the challenge is actually quite high, but you feel like your sense of skills is not quite up to the task. That may create a sense of anxiety, that you're not really sure if you're able to do it. A lot of stress, and it's harder to get to that next level. There's a whole world of work within psychology as well focused on self-efficacy. How can you be a person that believes in what you're doing? And if you believe in it, studies show one after another that you're better able to actually accomplish that task. So we're moving up the scale of ability and your own sense of your ability, and we're moving up the scale of challenge to get to this 4th quadrant of peak performance. How might you get there? Maybe you have supporters, peers who are there to help you, managers, supervisors, coaches, who can get you to that point. Maybe it's just your own sense of experience, that you've done this so many times, this particular task, and you're ready to address any challenge that comes at you within that particular area. Or, like the Olympic athletes, you have a specific goal to be the best person that you can within that task. All of those are factors that can help you move past that anxiety, building all the experience that you have to be someone who can really deliver that peak performance. And that's really where we want to try to be. That's where Shaun White was. If you look at those 4 quadrants, for any task that you're doing, you could plot yourself against one of those. And you know, do I need to increase my abilities a little bit, increase my sense of ability, or do I need to increase that challenge a little bit? We don't want you to be coasting along. We want you to be driving to that next level and always doing better and better, like Shaun White and the Olympic athletes. It also shows you that the challenges that might be set forth for any group of people might not match each person in that group. You need to be able to find a challenge that's appropriate for your level of skill. So we have to think about that as you plot your own path going forward for peak performance. The process of addressing challenges, moving up the skill level, coaching someone, or even being precise about peak performance are a whole separate workout. It requires lots of time and lots of work, which we don't have time to do today. But I will plant with you an image of what that work looks like from pop culture. I'm sure all of you have seen The Empire Strikes Back, the classic image of Yoda, the coach, riding on the back of his coachee as he's running, swinging from trees, doing flips, doing all kinds of things. And Yoda shows him what peak performance can look like. The combination of ability and belief when he raises the spaceship out of the swamp and moves it over. Yoda's famous lines are, "There is no try, only do or do not." And for all the work that you talked about, whether for yourself or someone that you're working with, I know you can do it if you put your mind to it. Focus on the goals, focus on your ability, and you will be able to do it. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate all the work you've done during this session.
Thank you.